Hello, welcome to episode 1 of our new fortnightly Sweet Valley Twins podcast, Casey's Ice Cream Parlor. My name's Paula and I'm here with Rich.
Hello.
So we already do our other podcast, Kelly's Roadhouse, which is Sweet Valley High. We've decided to go weekly, but then we thought, well, we'd quite like to alternate between Sweet Valley Twins and Sweet Valley High from now on. So that's what we've done. We're very excited about it. I've not read that many Twins books. I say I've not read that many, but I think I read about 50 to 60 of them. But
okay,
I've
read one.
There are like at least 100. There are about 150 of them, I think.
Oh, okay. So not as many
like
as
that.
not as many as Sweet Valley High then.
So yeah, I haven't even read half of the series, so I'm very excited about reading them all.
I've read a grand total of one.
You've read one, yeah. So we're going to recap them one by one as we do with Sweet Valley High.
Yes, in order.
In order, of course. So starting with book number 1, Best Friends. It says, meet Jessica and Elizabeth before they reach Sweet Valley High.
Yes, and of course the Best Friends refers to them. It's not about Enid or Lila or Cara Walker. It's about Elizabeth being best friends with Jessica.
Yeah, we've got a picture of them on the cover, and it's the first and last cover where they're going to be wearing matching outfits. Which
I am very, very sad about, because I thought that was one thing in this book I thought was really, really cute.
And it says on the back, Elizabeth is afraid she's losing her best friend, her twin sister. Growing apart. Jessica and Elizabeth Wakefield feel special because they're identical twins. For 12 years they've dressed alike, shared a room and done everything together. But when they start Sweet Valley Middle School, everything begins to change. Elizabeth wants to work on the class newspaper, but Jessica doesn't. Jessica would rather join the Unicorns.
Oh dear.
A snobby old girls' club. Even though Elizabeth isn't interested in the same things as her twins, she tries hard to tag along. But is she losing her very best friend?
Is she indeed? I guess we'll find out as we go through the book.
Yeah.
So
we open with Jessica racing across the lawn of Sweet Valley Middle School. How exciting! It's like a new building and everything.
I know, yeah. It's not high.
Yeah.
They're 12, right, in this one? Is that
yeah,
right?
I think
12,
so.
6th grade.
So Jessica's calling out to Liz, and Liz says she's in a hurry. Jessica asks if she's mad at her, and Liz says, "What for? You borrowed my barrettes without asking. You made me late for science, and you got peanut butter in my hairbrush."
How does one get peanut butter in a hairbrush?
Yeah,
like that was my first immediate question upon opening this book. I was like, how? How did you do that, Jess?
And Jessica says, yeah, I always do stuff like that, though.
Yeah, she's like, oh yeah, I always do
okay,
that.
then.
So it's fine.
That's fine.
It's like, I always do that. Don't worry about it.
And then she says, did you see Lois Waller in gym class today? She was practically oozing out of her leotard, fat everywhere. They shouldn't let a tub like her take ballet.
Oh, my goodness.
So I was quite glad. We're only on page 2 at this point, and there's already fatophobia.
Fat phobia, fat shaming. Practically oozing out of her leotard.
So pretty similar to Sweet Valley High then. In that
pretty
sense.
much, yeah. I mean, I guess by the time they introduced this series, we already knew who the characters were. So they're just off to the races, like immediately.
We already know Jessica was a bitch.
Exactly, we already know Jessica's a bitch, so it's fine. Liz, my favourite bit is that Liz says that Lois can't help it if she's fat, and Jess just says she can too. Yeah,
Jessica says she could lose some weight, and she should stop looking so ugly.
Yeah, and stop looking so ugly. And then, Jess complains about her clothes, her hair.
Yeah.
And she says that it's ruining their class. She's, her being overweight is ruining her ballet class.
Yeah, it says she's crashing around like a rhinoceros and is tough on the kids with real talent. Why? Why is that affecting what you do? Just get on with your own thing.
Well, didn't you know that as a kid, during this period of time, Jess is convinced that she is going to be a famous ballerina?
Yeah, she knows she's better than all the other kids, apparently. Yeah. So, well, at least she's confident.
There is one thing.
No self-esteem issues there.
Yeah, if there's one thing Jessica is, it is confident, amongst other things.
And then Elizabeth says that she's got some great news.
Yes, and Jess immediately wonders if they're getting their new phones.
But no, it's not that. Mr. Bowman, I was wondering, Mr. Bowman, actually, is he the twins' equivalent of Mr. Collins, basically?
Well, I'm guessing. I'm guessing he will be.
So Mr. Bowman has put her in charge of starting a school newspaper for the 6th grade.
Yes. And of course, we know what Liz goes on to aspire to be. I guess she was already aspiring to be a writer at this point. But of course, she is thrilled.
A quote writer.
A quote unquote.
Unquote writer.
Writer. And of course, she is absolutely thrilled and suggests to Jess that she could create a gossip column.
I bet it would be better than the Eyes and Ears.
I feel like it would be better because it would be like...
Jess knows people.
Yeah. Jess knows people. The gossip column would be way better. Like,
yeah.
Liz writing the gossip column always felt wrong to me. Because she's always like, I'm above that. You know?
Yeah. Although she is nosy.
Oh, she's very nosy. But she likes to put on this pretense that she's not as bad as Jessica when really she is just as bad.
But Jessica says Caroline Pierce would be better at writing a gossip column. So you didn't remember Caroline Pierce, did you?
So no, I'd completely forgotten who Caroline Pierce was, and I was like, "Oh, Caroline Pierce, I don't remember her." And of course, you pointed out that in Double Love, she is the girl who sees she's out walking her dog or something, I think, and she sees Jess come home with the police, and that's what starts the rumors that it was Elizabeth drinking at Kelly's.
Yeah. So Liz suggests that Jessica could maybe do fashion or TV, but she's just not interested.
Yeah, apparently she just looks bored.
Yeah, don't blame her. And Elizabeth's disappointed because they always show everything.
Yeah, she seems really shocked.
I'll possibly do something on my own.
Yeah, I know. Oh no, we can't do anything on our own. But I'm also like really surprised that Liz is shocked that Jess isn't interested in writing for a newspaper.
Yeah.
Unless Jess has been completely different as a child until now. Like, what I know of Jess, like, I would never expect her to be writing anything. She copies her homework, for goodness sake.
Yeah. They get home to Stephen, and he's rummaging angrily through the fridge, apparently. Why is he so angry?
Said to you yesterday, I love Stephen in this book.
It's a pain in the ass.
He's awful. He just he's the typical teenage boy, and he puts down anything that the twins are excited about. He just shits all over. It's hilarious.
He's just like your typical older brother figure.
Yeah. So yeah, he's rummaging around in the fridge.
Rummaging angrily in the fridge.
Yes, specifically.
Just whatever that means.
Whatever that means. I guess he's like bashing about. You know.
And he starts to make fun of their outfits. He says they're too old to dress the same. Yeah.
Liz is like, what's wrong with what we're wearing? And he said, it's fine if you don't mind double vision.
Haha. Then we get a description of them. So it's not as over the top as in the Sweet Valley High books.
No.
It says blonde hair pulled back into ponytails, blue-green eyes with long lashes, a dimple in their left cheeks. And they're wearing white blouses with red sweater vests, denim skirts, and white knee socks with running shoes.
They sound
so cute.
Adorable. Interesting that at this stage, this is probably... Well, this might be the only book, other than, I guess, Sweet Valley Kids, which I've never read. This might be the only book where we have Jess with her hair tied back. Because it's done by the end of this book, and I'm guessing it never happens again.
Yeah. Elizabeth tells Stephen that they like to dress identical. And then Jessica goes off to answer the phone. She comes back and she announces it was Lila Fowler.
Yeah, she makes out like it was like... Oh, the book actually says it's as if she'd been speaking to a member of the royal family. She's like so impressed. Of course, Lila is the part of the one of the two richest families in Sweet Valley High.
Lila's got the biggest wardrobe in Sweet Valley.
I'm not surprised.
Her father's rich and buys her whatever she wants.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth can't understand why Jessica's spending any time with her.
Yeah, which again surprised me, if she knows anything about her sister.
I think this might be like Jessica's suddenly going through a change.
So Jessica, as I know her, is just coming out now. So it's a surprise to Liz that this is happening. Fair enough.
I think so. I mean, I don't know.
That makes sense. But anyway, Jess is excited for another reason, though, isn't she?
So she tells Elizabeth that Lila's in the Unicorn Club.
Yeah, and...
Elizabeth says, what's that? Did her father buy her a unicorn?
Yeah.
But Jessica is not amused.
No, it is no laughing matter.
It's called the Unicorn Club because unicorns are beautiful and special, just like the girls in the club.
Yes. And of course we have Jess's previous comment with Lois, she was likened to a rhinoceros, whilst obviously the popular girls are unicorns, delicate and still horned, but
horny.
Oh. So yeah, it's a club for the beautiful and popular girls of Sweet Valley.
Yeah, the only two sixth graders that get to join are Lila and Ellen, because Lila's Janet's cousin. So Janet Howell is the apparently prettiest, most important girl in school, and she's the president of the club.
Yes, presumably some accident befalls her between now and Sweet Valley High.
Yeah,
because I've never heard of her yet, unless maybe she comes back.
No, she doesn't. Well, I don't know why she's not in Sweet Valley High.
Maybe she moved
Ellen
away,
isn't either. So Jessica goes down to the basement to practice ballet.
Yeah.
While Liz heads into their room to do her homework.
Yeah.
Their room is described as pretty but babyish.
Mm-hmm.
Pink wallpaper with white flowers on and pink bedspreads.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth's house was tidy, but Jessica's was a mess.
An unbelievable mess, quote unquote.
Alice calls them into the kitchen for dinner, and Jessica tells everybody how she's the best ballet dancer in their whole class.
Yeah.
But Liz is almost as good, she says.
Yeah, she does. She actually, uncharacteristically, a few times in this book, actually thinks about Liz, which I guess, again, she's like changing, and soon that will be a thing of the past. But yeah, and then Ned and Alice, very nicely, say that they could take up ballet at the dance studio, which obviously Jess is over the moon about.
Yeah, she starts shrieking.
Yeah.
And then Liz starts to tell them all about the newspaper. And she says she's going to call Amy Sutton and Julie Porter to help out.
Mm-hmm.
And Jessica says, oh, you just need Winston Egbert now and it can be called the Nerd Paper.
The Nerd Paper. So I'm assuming that Amy and Julie are very much like Liz.
Yeah.
The bookworms and the,
And then Jess says that Amy wears boring clothes.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth says, well, they're better than the boring snobs you hang around with.
Yeah, well, that's a fair point, as we'll discover pretty soon.
So the next morning on the walk to school, we get a child Bruce Patman,
who's to no surprise a complete dick, even as a child.
I can't see him as a child. I could just see him as like a small child's body, but still like a teenage 16-year-old's head. In my brain.
Yeah. Now, what surprised me with this, which I didn't realise, maybe I wasn't paying attention when we read Double Love, I didn't realise that Bruce is in the year above the twins.
Yeah.
I thought he was the same year as them. But
No,
I guess
he's
all the
the
girls
year
in
above.
Sweet Valley date up. They don't date their own age, I guess, apart
It's
from
weird because
Liz.
he hangs around with all the people in the year below.
He even hangs around with Todd, which
Yeah.
you'd think was weird.
He's
Unless
always
Todd's
like
in a
sat
higher
with
grade.
them in the Dairy Burger, like their
Yeah.
group. It's really weird.
Do you think it's because he's like really
Got
not
no
that?
friends his
He's
own
really
age.
not that cool, and like he gets like the people his own age don't like him, so he's like
Yeah.
because he's older, he can be really cool with the younger grade.
Maybe, actually.
Yeah. So of course he has a nickname for the twins, which is Blondie. Or
Yeah.
Blonde, hi Blonde, and that, or Blondie, sorry, Blondie, and yeah, so basically he can't be bothered to tell them apart, so he just calls them Blondie.
Yeah, and Liz thinks he's a bully and a jerk.
And she is right.
But Jessica is staring at him like he's a rock star.
Yeah, she's well, I guess she's at that age. She's
And
starting
she-
to, notice boys.
She thinks that he fancies her because Alice told her that boys only tease girls that they like.
She's right.
Alice!
Well, she's right though. He does fancy her, as we know, or at least he will do.
Yeah, but don't tell your daughter that...
Oh no, it's horrendous advice. No, sorry, the advice is terrible. I was just saying that she is right. He does fancy her. So, but yeah, it's horrendous advice.
Jess rushes off to see Lila and Ellen, and Liz goes off to find Amy and Julie.
Yes. So Ellen's a new character. Hadn't met Ellen before this book. Obviously, Lila is infamous. And Julie and Amy are new to my knowledge.
Yeah, Amy does come back to Sweet Valley High.
Oh, okay. Because Amy's Liz's best friend in this, right? At the
Yeah.
moment, because obviously Enid is with George having a car crash or something in another school.
Yeah, Amy comes back to Sweet Valley High later. I won't spoil it, but
Oh, no, I
she's
can't wait.
changed quite a bit when she comes back.
Well, that's going to be good because now I will know who she is. Because if we
Yeah.
hadn't started this, I'd just be like,
Amy suggests to Liz that they meet for lunch, and Liz hesitates because she always sits with Jess. But then she thinks, well, Julie and Amy can join us, and Jessica might even like them.
So
I doubt it.
It was at this point in the book that something started to occur. We have a number in Sweet Valley High, and in Twins, it seems to be 1 million. 1 million comes up a lot in this book. It's like she basically thinks that she'd 1 million times rather speak to Julie and Amy than Lila and Ellen. And 1 million just come up a lot as I was reading through the book. I don't know if that's a thing. It might not be, but it certainly came up a few in this book.
Well, it's a thing now because you've just discovered it.
It's a thing now. So, of course, Amy and Julie are, like, totally on board with this paper thing. They think it's the best idea ever.
Yeah. At lunchtime, anyway, before that...
oh, sorry.
Yeah, Jess tells Liz she's going to go and sit with Lila and Ellen.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And Liz is kind of secretly relieved because she doesn't have to make an excuse.
Yeah, but she feels a bit hurt. I mean, I'd be pissed off, like, you know, because Liz considered her and she hasn't considered Liz back.
Yeah.
But anyway, she tells Amy and Julie all about the newspaper. You know, I'm sick of hearing about this newspaper already.
It's literally, we're like 10 pages into the book.
Yeah. It's like, I can't hear about that fucking newspaper.
I know. I have a feeling we're going to hear about it a lot too.
I don't know why. It was really irritating me.
I think it's just because with the Oracle and stuff, I'm already over that shit.
Yeah.
You know, and this is what started it.
But yeah, like you said, Julie and Amy are really excited.
Yeah.
Julie's eyes sparkle, apparently.
Oh.
And she says she loves advice columns and inquiring reporters that ask kids stuff like, what do you think about going steady? What kind of inquiring reporters ask that?
How many alcoholic kids do you know?
What do you mean?
Is that like going steady, going straight? What does going steady mean? Does that not mean like... Is that not like getting back on the wagon, being like straight-edged?
Going steady is like becoming an exclusive couple.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like
you know, heard that in American films
alcoholics.
Did you know one thing that was a bit odd?
I don't think I've ever heard it.
It's in loads of American films.
Going steady.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, would you go steady with me? They say to one another.
I've never heard that before. That's amazing. Okay. So they're not 12-year-old alcoholics. That's
I think
good,
Julie just wanted to, like, you know, investigate 12-year-old alcoholics.
Yeah. Why not?
There might be some. This is Sweet Valley High. Well, actually, no, they don't tend to drink much in Sweet Valley High, do they?
No. Well, in fact,
every time they do, someone dies or something goes drastically wrong.
I mean, it's still a scandal when like a 16-year-old drinks. So you know.
And if every time anyone does drink, like something goes really badly wrong, you know, like they end up in a coma, or there's like a crash, a road crash. It's like something happens. Bad.
Yeah. It's never a good thing.
No.
So anyway,
yeah. Amy says they need a gossip column, a sports page, movie reviews, and a poetry corner. It's like, calm down,
this is
Amy.
one hell of a
Just
newspaper.
calm down. I know.
How many pages are you printing every week?
So the three of them start to jot down ideas.
Yeah.
But they get interrupted by Caroline Pierce.
Yes, and it says that Liz inwardly groans.
She's so snobby. She ends up writing a gossip column in the future.
Yeah, it's funny that at this point she's like, oh, disgusting gossip. But like later, that's literally her job.
So Caroline tells them some gossip.
Yeah. She
tells them that Roberta Manning, whoever the fuck that is grounded for staying out late with a high school boy.
Yes. A mysterious high school boy.
Liz asks how she knows this, and she says, I just know things.
Yeah. She also mentions Mr. Nidick. I don't know if you had this in your notes.
I didn't, because I just thought it was pointless, but
well,
go on.
It's pointless, but for one quote. So it says they're going to fire Mr. Nidick.
And also he's called Mr. Nidick.
Nidick, who is the head of the history department. And Liz asks why, what's going on. And Caroline basically says she doesn't know, but it must have been something horrendous. Maybe something to do with one of the kids. But that sounded really sinister.
That does sound a bit dodgy.
Yeah, I was like, wow, that's some serious gossip to be spreading around, Caroline. Yeah, so Caroline is like the school gossip, which I guess is great because that follows on into Double Love, where she's still the school gossip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Jessica sat across the cafeteria with Ellen, Lila, Janet, and 3 7th graders.
Yeah, so she's like privileged enough to sit with the unicorns, even though she's not part of the unicorns. Yeah.
Kids keep looking at their table. Cute guys wave hello. Every girl at the table, apparently, was sensational looking.
Yeah.
And she wanted to be a member of the Unicorn Club more than anything in the world.
This is, again, a common theme with Jess. Whatever she wants that day is the thing she wants more than anything in the world. Yeah.
She asked them what they do at their meetings, and they lower their voices and act like it's some like highly confidential info.
Yeah, but then they're just like, we shit stir about girls and boys.
Yeah.
And talk about like celebrities we fancy.
Yeah.
It's like top secret.
Yeah, Ellen whispers dramatically, we talk about boys. And they also say they hang out at the Dairy Burger after school, and Jessica cannot believe it because only the high school kids hang out at the Dairy Burger, apparently.
Right.
And Jessica's been there before, but only with their parents.
Okay. So they're doing big person things.
And Janet says they all decide purple is their favourite colour, so they always try and wear it.
Yeah, they've decided that's it now. And
they pay their dues to cover food for slumber parties and pizzas and stuff.
Yeah, apparently they've got enough for 4 whole pizzas at Guido's right now.
Shut up.
I know. And apparently Jess thinks that they eat an awful lot of pizza.
I think Lila should pay more dues than the other members.
Well, Lila can definitely afford to pay more dues. It should be a percentage.
Should buy their fucking pizza.
Should be a percentage thing.
Yeah. When it says that they all wear purple and things, it's just like you think this is where Mean Girls got it from.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
Mean Girls, like we wear pink on Wednesdays.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. That's interesting. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, there's a lot of elements in this that remind me of Mean Girls, but then Mean Girls reminds me of what's the other one? Clueless, and that reminds me of Heathers. Yeah. They all take things from one another, don't they?
Yeah, but I
love those kind of films.
But then the writers probably were, the right age to have been reading this sort of stuff in the 80s, 90s. So yeah, maybe.
Janet tells her that the club is very exclusive, and they don't really want it to get any bigger, but they might have room for another member. Yeah,
so the idea is that the only time there's new members is when people graduate or when someone gets kicked out.
Or if they die.
Well, yes, or if they die.
Which you might say that's unlikely, but this is Sweet Valley.
That's true. I thought people twins might be less likely to have deaths, but I don't know.
Well, I don't know, because like I said at the start, I'm sort of, even though I'm not new to these, it's been a good 20 years, possibly more, that I've read most of them. So I genuinely can't remember. I mean, I can't remember what happens on TV programs like the next day. So... So the next morning, back at the Wakefield house, they're getting ready for school.
Yes.
And Jessica tells Liz they don't have enough purple clothes. And Liz says they don't want to look like grapes.
Yeah, she says, they don't want to look like grapes. She's also complaining that she hasn't done any of her homework and that she just has to copy Liz's. And Liz says, no, I'll help you, but I'm not going to let you copy. But yes, she doesn't want them to look like grapes.
I think purple's a nice colour. My favourite colour,
but what I like is... Yeah, well, purple is my favourite colour as well. But what I love here is that that Liz is like, we don't want to look like grapes. And she thinks secretly she doesn't like purple. But then it says that Jess puts on a lavender top and Liz immediately copies her. Because she's like, I have to copy my twin. So I guess I'll have to wear this. They always wear the same. Yeah.
And it sounds like Jessica usually decides the outfit and then Liz just puts it on.
Yes, because later on there's a style that she likes that she's never been able to do as well.
Yeah.
Jess is in charge when it comes to the image.
Good job, probably, I would say.
Yeah.
Liz tells them they have to tidy the bedroom after school because Bruce Patman could be under all the mess and they wouldn't even know.
God, he might be.
And yeah, Jess says, I wish. So on the way to school, Liz tells Jess the gossip about Roberta Manning and the high school boy. Yes, and Jess says she already knows. Mm-hmm. She knows because Janet kicked her out of the unicorns for it. Yeah. Why would someone be kicked out of a club for going out of the high school boy? Well, Jess says that it was probably the last straw because her and Janet were not getting on. Mm-hmm. And also, it would be well impressive, wouldn't it? You'd just be like, oh my God, you're dating an older guy. That's incredible. Yeah. Yeah. We do find out more about that later, though.
Yeah, well, yes, we do. Yeah.
So I think the book should have been about Roberta Manning.
Yeah.
She sounds interesting.
It's an interesting side story that we hear like very little about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after school, Elizabeth is waiting for Jessica at their usual meeting place, but Jessica stood her up.
Yeah, she's waited for a whole half hour.
But Jessica has been summoned to the Dairy Burger by the unicorns.
Oh my goodness.
And Janet tells her they've called her there for a very important reason.
I wonder what it could be.
They have room for 2 more girls in the club.
Yeah.
And they think that she's unicorn material.
Well, if she can pass the pledges. So there are 3 pledges that each new member has to pass, and then there's a vote. And if they pass that vote, then that's all good.
Like, they think they're so important that they literally make people pass tasks to hang around with them.
Well, and also,
it's
like explicitly stated, you can pass all 3, do all 3 dares, and then still not get in.
Yeah.
Which is like, surely you'd be like, well, if I do all 3, surely I'm in. That's like an instant in, right? No, apparently not. It's voted on. So, the pledges. Do you want to go through the pledges?
You can go ahead.
Do you want me to go through the pledges?
Yeah.
So, first pledge, she has to hide Mrs. Arnett's lesson book before the class, and then get it back into her bag, Miss Arnett's bag, by the end of the class without being seen.
Wow.
Secondly, she then has to stand outside of the girls' toilets between classes and tell at least 3 girls that the bathroom is flooded and that they have to use the boys instead. And third,
these are so ridiculous.
they are absolutely ridiculous. I was thinking while going through these pledge dares how much worse this would be or was when it was like Pi Beta Alpha or like a later thing.
Yeah,
it's like here
definitely.
Is so innocent, but
it is the kind of dares you set your friends when you're about 12, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like innocent.
I remember us
things.
like daring things in the playground. They were this kind of thing.
Playing
I would
spin
dare
the
you to
ball.
put your head round the boys' toilet door and things.
Yeah, exactly. But of course, third, last but not least, possibly the hardest one for Jess. She needs to come to school one day looking so different from Liz that no one can tell that they're twins. And Jess is also not allowed to tell anyone about the pledge dares.
No. So Jessica says, oh, so I guess Liz can't tell me her dares either.
Yeah, because obviously there's an extra member, right?
And Janet's confused. And Jess says, well, I assume Liz was the other new member, as you said there were 2. But Janet says, no, it's Tamara Chase.
Yeah.
And they don't think Liz is right for the unicorns.
I agree.
I don't.
I completely agree.
So even Jess can see that Janet has a point.
Yeah, she says like Jess feels bad for Liz, but she admits maybe she isn't right.
Yeah, but she doesn't want to hurt her feelings, so she decides to keep the whole thing a secret.
Yeah.
For now.
Yeah, because she's not even past the pledges yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When she gets home, Elizabeth is fuming at her for standing her up. But then forgives her when she shows her some purple belts she's bought for them.
Even though Liz doesn't like purple.
Yeah.
I guess she's just happy that she was thinking of her.
Yeah, she's like, oh, she was thinking of me after all. Well, no, she was thinking of herself because she bought you a belt that you wouldn't even like and she likes herself.
Yeah, I mean, she must know that you don't like the colour purple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next day at school, Jess pulls off pledge task number 1.
Yes.
Stealing the book.
Yes.
So she gets Lila to distract Mrs. Arnett by asking her to tell them what a wacko she was in World War II.
Yes, it was a woman's army corps.
Yeah,
women's army
she
corps.
Doesn't mean wacko, she means whack.
Yeah.
And it's the Women's Army Corps.
Yeah, so she basically is like, I've got to do this stupid dare and steal a book. So you distract her by bringing up probably the most horrible time of her life in World War II, just so that I can steal this stupid book.
But apparently Mrs. Arnett is obsessed with the war.
Yeah, I guess she's very
War II.
proud of her service in World War II in the Women's Army Corps. Yeah.
And then on Friday, she completes her second task, which is getting 3 girls to go into the boys' room.
Well, it almost goes all wrong, though, doesn't it?
So the first 2 people that come along, they're 8th graders, and they don't fall for it, and they go to the second floor bathroom, and she's like, oh shit. everyone's just going to go to the second floor bathroom.
Yeah, she didn't think that one through.
But then Lois Waller comes along. Apparently Lois is puffing. So
Of course.
It's the same with Robin. They use a certain language for larger people.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like they're always huffing and puffing and bubbly and sweaty and you know. Yeah, she's puffing that she's desperate to go to the toilet. So she goes into the boys' room.
Yes, Jess is apparently stood there with a quote unquote no nonsense expression. She's very serious about you not using these toilets. It's an absolute lake in there.
Yeah. And then Lois runs out screaming.
Such an overreaction. But also, it's like you've been told to use the boys' toilets. Is it not conceivable that there would be boys in there anyway?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's not really going to come as much of a surprise, is it? But yeah, so that seems to have gone well. But then Liz turns up.
With Amy and Julie.
Yeah. And of course, Jess can't tell them about the pledge dares. And she doesn't feel like she can pull off lying to Liz, even though she gets very good at it later on.
Yeah.
So, of course, they go straight in.
Yeah, and Janet's watching from across the hall.
Yeah, she doesn't look
shakes
impressed.
Her head disapprovingly at Jess.
Yeah.
But then 2 more 8th graders come along.
Mm-hmm.
And when she tells them the story, they say, well, we just saw someone go in. And Jessica says, it's okay, they're from the Future Plumbers Club.
The Future Plumbers Club. She then clarifies it's a very small group.
It doesn't sound as good as the Unicorn Club, does it?
No.
It doesn't have the same ring to it.
If you gave me the option of joining the Unicorn Club or the Future Plumbers Group, I think I would pick the Unicorn Club. Yes, but after a while, they do agree. They say, well, let's go to the boys' room. I think one of them actually says, I've always wanted to see the inside of the boys' room.
Yeah. So, yeah, they go across and she's done that task. That's 3 people.
Apparently Janet and co fall about laughing. Like, this is the funniest thing that's ever happened so far.
And then on Monday, she has to do a final task.
Yeah, she's dreading this one.
So turn up at school looking completely different to Elizabeth.
But, of course, the problem is they get dressed together.
She thinks, well, maybe I can borrow some of my mum's clothes. It's like, is Alice the size of a 12-year-old girl?
Well, I hope not, because in the latest Sweet Valley that we read, she dressed up in her mum's clothes to go to the office. So she was either wearing something way too small in that, or it's going to be way too big here.
So what she does is she pretends to be asleep when Liz gets dressed.
Yeah.
Liz puts on a yellow sweatsuit.
Which I thought sounded amazing.
Banana.
Yeah.
And then she lays out the same one for Jess.
Yeah.
So this is why Liz doesn't pick the clothes. She picks out yellow sweatsuits.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And then, of course, she rushes downstairs just shouting, pancakes, Jess.
So when Liz is gone, Jessica puts on a completely different outfit.
Yeah.
And then she also curls her hair with Alice's hot rollers.
Yeah. Straighteners are for weirdos.
And it's a Gemma Collins quote, if you're in any of...
Yeah, sorry, but like half of the world are not going to understand that one.
I don't know. Do people know about Gemma Collins in
They
America?
probably do. She's pretty infamous, I think.
Yeah. I just want to talk about Gemma Collins now.
Oh no, we could do that. That'll be hours of us sat here talking about Gemma.
So yeah, she also curls her hair with Alice's hot rollers, and she puts on mascara and lip gloss.
Yeah. Which I gather is like the first time she's really worn makeup.
Yeah, and Ned tells her, "You look very grown up."
Yeah, she looks older apparently. Yeah, everyone's basically, apart from Stephen and Liz, are really impressed. That, you know.
And then Liz says, well, maybe I'll try the hot rollers.
But there's bad news.
They don't have time.
They don't have time. They've got to get to school.
So Liz is forced to go to school looking completely different.
Yeah, for the first time in their life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can see why this is a big deal for her.
I guess
for
so.
Liz.
Yeah.
Because, like, you imagine if you've done this your whole life and then all of a sudden your sister's like, nah, not going to do that anymore. I get it. Apparently they've dressed the same since nursery school, so...
And Jessica looks better than her as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Jess also secretly thinks to herself that Stephen's right. They do look too alike.
Yeah.
And it maybe is time to change that. Have their own personality.
In school, they get a positive reaction. So Bruce gives Jessica a wolf whistle.
Which, of course, pleases Jess no end.
And Liz flashes him a disgusted look.
Yes, as she rightly should.
She's such a serious 12-year-old.
She is, she is already practically 16-year-old Liz. now.
Yeah, and 16-year-old Liz is already practically 60-year-old Liz.
Yeah, so basically she's
basically a 60-year-old,
practically retired.
12-year-old.
Yeah.
Lila and Ellen tell her she looks great, and the unicorns will vote on her by the end of the week.
Yeah, which Jess says is practically forever.
Yeah, but Jessica's sure she's getting in. Because, like we said, she's got no confidence issues.
She's got no confidence issues. And she passed but all of the tests pretty much with flying colours.
Yeah. Meanwhile, though, Elizabeth locked herself in a toilet to cry.
Oh, I know. She's crying in one of the toilet stalls.
Mm.
And it gets worse.
Yeah. So 2 sixth graders walk in, and she overhears them talking about Jessica's new look.
Yeah.
And they say it's great that you can tell the twins apart now. And they say something like they never bothered speaking to them before because they were worried they get their names wrong.
One of them said, I've been wanting to get to know them better, but I could never tell them apart, so I just never bothered.
Yeah. So when they leave, she goes to the mirrors and she takes out a ponytail and lets her hair fall loose.
Yeah.
And then she parts it and fastens it with a clip.
Yes, it's a style that she's wanted to do for a long time, but it just hates, so she's never been able to do it.
And then Lois comes in and tells her how great she looks.
Yeah.
And that she should wear her hair like that more often. So all day, both of the twins are getting compliments.
Yeah.
And then at dinner, Alice tells them she's enrolled them in a beginner's ballet class at the dance studio. And they start tomorrow.
Yes, yeah. We should point out, everyone in the world is happy that the twins are dressing different and looking different, apart from Mrs. Arnett, who thinks it's a real shame that they don't just look alike forever. So yeah, Ned even says he has 2 sophisticated girls now.
Don't know if Jessica's sophisticated.
I wouldn't go that far, no.
So where are we? So the dance school, Liz is happy because it's something they can still share.
Yeah, she thinks it's like the one thing they've got left.
Yeah. So they head to the dance studio together the next day, and Jessica shows Liz her new purple leotard.
This bit is amazing.
She says that black is boring and that she wants to stand out. So Jessica basically is a girl after my own heart.
Yeah.
That's my attitude to gym wear.
So
I don't do boring gym wear.
No, absolutely not.
I want to cheer myself up and motivate myself.
Yeah, I like that. So Jess is over the moon because it turns out they're going to be taught by Madame Andre, who is the head of the studio. And my note here... Oh,
sorry,
go on. No, go for it.
I was just going to say, and she's also got purple leg warmers that she's borrowed from Lila.
Well, I was going to say,
amazing.
My note here says, the class begins and Liz can't believe what Jess is wearing, and I put in brackets, Paula.
Yeah.
Because I assumed you'd want to cover that.
Yeah, I was very excited about this outfit.
It's amazing.
But before the class, though, I just wrote down what Liz tells Jess about Bruce. So Jess says to Liz she thinks Bruce fancies her.
Yeah.
And Liz says he's a jerk. And apparently he called Lois the pig.
Yeah, and apparently stood up at lunch and shouted out everything that she had on her lunch tray, which Jess thinks must have been fucking hilarious.
Yeah, Jess thinks that's hilarious.
Yeah.
In the changing room, Jess is messing around with her hair.
Yeah.
So, and she tells Liz to go on ahead. Mm-hmm. So when Liz goes out to the class, Jess gets changed into her outfit. So she wears the purple leotard and the purple leg warmers. And then the leg warmers have pink hearts and yellow stripes on them.
They sound amazing.
I know. She tied a filmy lavender scarf around her waist and pinned some glittery hair clips into her hair that have long lavender streamers hanging off of them.
It sounds so ridiculous. So this is like what we gather is like this is a professional dance studio. Madame Andre is like a serious dancer, serious dance coordinator, teacher, very strict, and Jess is just...
She's also smeared blue eyeshadow all the way up to her eyebrows.
So she looks like a clown, basically.
She looks fucking amazing, and I won't have anything said otherwise.
No, I agree. But I can tell you someone who thinks it looks bloody awful, and that's Madame Andre. She is not impressed when Jess comes in.
She's horrified.
She's basically like... Bear in mind, this is a 12-year-old girl, right? A 12-year-old girl, and I'm paraphrasing, but she is basically like, who the fuck do you think you are? Like, what are you doing? And then she throws her scarf away.
I know.
Tells her to tie her hair back and to not wear purple.
Yeah, she has to dress plain, apparently.
Yeah.
So poor Jessica is nearly crying.
Yeah.
She thought she looked really nice.
Well, Liz thinks that Liz feels terrible, and she thinks that Jessica was just trying to look graceful, quote unquote.
I wouldn't say graceful.
No, I wouldn't.
Word,
but she tried really hard. It's a
looks
12-year-old
awesome.
girl. Like, I'd just be like, you
Kind
know.
of thing I would have done when I was 12.
Yeah, but there's ways, isn't there? You'd just be like, I'm really angry at Madame Andrea. I'd just be like, that's great, but next time, wear black.
Yeah.
But I appreciate the effort you've made.
Well, apparently Madame Andre is walking around rapping the floor with a long stick.
Yeah, she
and
sounds
telling them all
awful.
that she's going to work them hard. So
Yeah.
she sounds like a battle axe.
Yeah. So, she also says to Jess that next time she has to come in wearing black and no makeup and to look like her sister, which I thought was quite ironic because this whole book is about them not looking alike.
Yeah. And then she spends the whole class looking coldly at Jess.
Yeah, she's basically decided she hates Jess.
Yeah.
Now, and literally holds this grudge for the rest of the book. She's just horrible now.
The next day at school, Caroline gallops over to Liz, apparently.
Yeah.
And she asks why she didn't tell her about Jess during the unicorns. Like, why would Liz tell you anyway?
Yeah, why would Liz tell you? Considering earlier in the book we established that you know gossip that no one knows anyway, and somehow you just find out things. She even has gossip on 8th graders.
Things. Yeah. And Liz runs away in tears.
Yeah, because of course she's really upset that Jess didn't confide in her. This is like a really big thing for Jess, and Jess hasn't told her.
And then she doesn't even want to walk to ballet with Jess because she just can't face talking to her.
No, she's fuming.
She gets Lois to tell her to meet her there to deliver a message.
Yeah.
So at ballet, Jessica is the model student this time. She's dressed correctly and she's early, but Madame Andre still looks right through her and ignores her for the whole hour.
Yeah.
She's just bullying her.
She's awful. So basically, she spends.
Fired.
Yeah, she spends the whole class complimenting Liz all the time.
Yeah.
Whilst just staring a hole through Jess.
Yeah, she doesn't even say anything bad about her either. She just literally ignores her.
She's just nothing to do with her. Even though she has done everything she said. She's come not wearing makeup. She's come in black. She's come looking exactly like her sister. Just as well Madame Andre can tell them apart, because otherwise she might be looking at the wrong one.
Yeah.
So yeah, of course, after the class, Jess mentions the unicorns.
And Liz runs off crying again.
Yeah. This is like Sweet Valley High. There's a lot of running off crying.
Running off crying. And yeah, Jessica figures out that she knows.
Yeah, but she also thinks it's not her fault. She had to keep the pledge secret.
At home, Liz confides in Alice.
Yeah, they go to the den. Where's the den? I'm guessing it's their room. But
Have you not heard of this either?
no.
I think I read more American books than you.
You must. You've read a lot of American YA. So
American houses all have a den. Correct me if I'm wrong about this, American listeners.
At least in books you do.
It's sort of like I don't know what our equivalent would be, just a room where you can
chill out room.
You can hang out and watch TV. So the living room is more formal, I think, and then the den is
okay.
It's got
I'd never heard
in
of that.
And you can just go and hang out in it.
Oh, I want a den.
We'll get a den one day.
We'll get a den, yeah.
Yeah, and Alice is like, what the fuck? Jessica's a unicorn?
Yeah. No one knows. Obviously, that's the funny thing, though, isn't it? Because it's so true at 12. It's the biggest thing in the world to
My
you.
sister's a unicorn?
Yeah, but everyone else is this doesn't exist in my world. What are you talking about?
So Liz explains to her about the club, and Alice says it doesn't sound like something Liz would enjoy anyway.
Yeah, and she also says it's good that they have other interests.
Yeah. But Jess gets home, and Liz tells her that she understands about the unicorns, but she is hurt that she kept it secret from her.
Yeah. Jess says that she had to keep the pledge secret.
So they make up, but Liz can still feel a terrible emptiness in the pit of her stomach, apparently.
Yeah, she's still very
upset. Still upset.
Yeah.
Friday arrives, and it's the day that Jessica's going to be voted on by the unicorns.
Oh, yes.
Liz is acting like she's dying or something.
Well, she's acting like her sister's going to die.
Yeah.
Her sister's just not going to exist anymore. They
starts,
still live together. You're still going to see your sister a lot.
She starts talking about the old days when they used to play Ken and Barbie together.
Yeah, and she convinced some bully to play Barbie with them, and then another bully came along and bullied the bully because he was playing Barbie.
God. Is this a kid's storyline?
It might be. Oh my God, maybe it's a kid's storyline.
Or is this just some crap they randomly made up?
If this is in Sweet Valley Kids, let us know. I hadn't even thought about that. Book. Yeah.
Yeah, and she says how much she's going to miss her.
Yeah.
Like, she's not fucking leaving the country.
She's not dying.
She's just becoming a unicorn.
Yeah.
Calm down. Jessica says if she gets in, she'll try and get Liz in too.
Yeah, and Liz is actually quite excited about that, despite thinking she probably doesn't want to be in.
I know.
Like, I guess she just wants to be with her sister. And I get the impression that by this point in her life, Liz has done an awful lot of things like dressing in ways and doing things that she doesn't want to really do, but she does it for Jess.
Yeah.
Because she just wants to be with Jess.
So Liz says she would love that.
Yeah.
Then the phone rings.
Oh my God.
And it is Roberta fucking Manning. Oh my God. She's calling for Stephen.
So Roberta, as you may remember from the start of the book, has been kicked out of the Unicorns for dating an older boy, a sophomore. No, not a sophomore. Sorry, and just an older boy, high school boy. And now she's asking for Stephen.
Yeah.
So Stephen is the boy that got her in trouble. Yeah.
Jess wants to go and get the gossip, but Liz points out that the Unicorns wouldn't like it if the school's gossiping about a member's brother. Yeah. And Jess is like, oh shit. She panics and she tells Liz not to say anything.
Liz does a good job of helping Stephen here. Like, she, by coming up with this excuse, which is probably a valid excuse, to be fair. They kick someone out for supposedly kick someone out for dating an older guy. They definitely kick you out for having a brother that dated the girl that got kicked out. Yeah. If they're that fickle.
But after school, Jessica gets home shrieking.
Yeah.
She's a unicorn.
Yeah, Stephen asks when she gets her horn.
Yeah. I think she's starting to get it.
I think she might be. Yep.
For Bruce Patman.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jess says, oh, what's wrong with you? Things aren't going well with Roberta.
Yeah, and Stephen just loses his shit.
Yeah, he's not happy.
He is not happy at all. By the way, this is like the only thing the twins get in on Stephen the whole book. Other than that, it's just Stephen shitting on everything they're happy about. This is the one time they get something on him, and he absolutely hates it. Yeah. He demands that they stay out of his business.
Yeah, he actually says, never utter that name in this house again.
Yeah, so that's it. Well, that explains why we never hear about her ever again. They're not allowed to talk about her. Even in Sweet Valley High, when they're all 16, they're not allowed to. Still not allowed to talk about Roberta.
Never utter that name again.
You do not bring up Roberta ever again.
And then he storms out.
Yeah.
Liz asks Jess when she can get her into the club, and Jessica says, not yet, but soon.
Yeah, she says she can't do it in the first meeting, but maybe the second meeting.
So on Monday, Jessica heads out to her first club meeting.
Yes, leaving Liz behind.
So Liz invites Amy over.
Yeah.
And she offers Amy a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but Amy says that she likes peanut butter and pickle.
Yeah,
but apparently she doesn't like to tell too many people.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
I'm bloody surprised.
She's fucking pregnant?
I know.
Peanut butter and pickles. Liz says that Jess would have her arrested for eating that.
Well, damn right.
I'm tempted to try it, but...
Oh, please try it.
Okay.
Can we film you trying it and put it on Instagram?
Yep. We'll do that. That's a promise.
Oh my God.
We've agreed. I'll do it. I'll get some pickles next time I come over.
Are you sure about this?
We'll do it.
Because I make this kind of. I'm not doing this.
I'm up for it.
Because I don't like pickle.
I like pickle and I like peanut butter. I'll give it a go.
Okay.
We'll film it.
We'll see. What kind of bread do you want?
Oh, is it in a sandwich?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Wholemeal.
Okay, we'll go for wholemeal.
You know, I'm boring. Right. Yes, we'll do that. So, they head out to a lovely tree. And Liz says that her and Jess used to hang out there. But Jess doesn't come here anymore.
Apparently it's Liz's special place.
Yeah, Amy loves it. She thinks it's lovely. And she even suggests they could have newspaper meetings there.
Fucking newspaper. So Liz says they still need to think of a name for the newspaper. And Amy suggests... What an amazing suggestion. Amy suggests the Sweet Valley News.
Wow.
Well done, Amy. Well
the problem
done.
is, I would imagine that the local newspaper is probably called that.
Yeah, like the actual real newspaper. I'm sure I've heard that.
Yeah, I mean, like,
before.
just throwing it out there. But Amy, I think that name probably is taken.
So Julie had suggested the Chatterbox.
It sounds like a TV program.
Yeah, but Liz says she's got the perfect name.
Yes, the Sweet Valley Sixers.
Amy loves it. And she says it's great working with Liz.
She's a bit of a suck-up to Liz, I've noticed.
I know. She's the twins version of Enid.
Yeah,
like
she kind of is. Yeah.
But everyone's a suck-up to Liz.
Everyone thinks she's amazing, don't they?
Yeah. And Amy says that they should write a novel together.
Yeah, that's a bit...
Like, calm down, Francine Pascal.
Chill out, Francine.
Yeah.
And then they both bitch about their mothers, telling them what to do, saying that they should be left to grow however they want.
And they also have a bitch about the unicorns. And Amy says they have as much personality as Hairbrush.
Yeah. Well, meanwhile... Oh, no, sorry. Then we skip ahead to Jess's third unicorn meeting.
Yeah. They're sitting on Janet's white canopy bed. And they're all trying out hairstyles and talking about clothes and boys.
Yeah.
It's like typical cliche girly slumber party kind of thing.
Yeah.
Not
Not the kind of thing that you need a club for. It's usually just like... Yeah,
you need to pass tasks to be allowed to do this.
Yeah. I mean, like, if... Well, actually, that's a bad example. I was going to say if Liz had Amy and Julie over, but that would probably be the most boring slumber party ever. So
they'd talk about the fucking newspaper, wouldn't they?
Yeah. So, of course, Jess is thinking, it's the third meeting now. Might be time to finally ask about Liz.
Yeah. So she brings the subject up, and Janet says they've already been through this, and Liz is not right for the club.
Yeah, one of the 8th graders even calls Jess a baby, saying it's time for her to grow up and stop thinking about her sister.
So Jess says that her parents have told her that she has to drop out unless Liz can join.
This is uncharacteristic for Jess. Certainly
She's put her
later
neck
Jess.
out, hasn't she?
She's put her neck out. She's willing to quit the unicorns for her sister. Because her mum didn't tell her that.
I think she just knew that
They needed her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they could have easily said, well, fine then,
Well, maybe she already knew what Janet then says, because Janet is horrified by this. She says that it's one thing for the unicorns to kick people out, but it's quite another for someone to quit.
Yeah, that's it.
It wouldn't look good for the unicorns to have a unicorn leave. Which I thought was bullshit, because she could have just said, you're not quitting, you're fired.
Yeah.
And then it's like, it's fine, you've covered yourself. But never mind. So they do agree. They said they're going to do it, but there's going to be a dare. One dare, but it will not be easy. Boy, oh boy.
So the next day, Liz joins them for lunch.
Yeah. And
Janet tells Liz what her pledge dare is.
My God.
She has to invite Lois Waller to the Dairy Burger on Wednesday. And replace the whipped cream on Lois's sundae with shaving foam. Basically. So Liz says, no way am I doing this. It's mean. It's horrible.
Well, I'm annoyed on two fronts. I'm annoyed that they're ordering ice cream sundaes there instead of Casey's. You should be coming. Coming to our place and having these ice creams. For another, I was thinking, like, my God, the Dairy Burger are like open to be sued and everything here for this plan.
Yeah.
This is horrible.
Yes, if the staff wouldn't see that.
I know. Like, shaving cream's pretty toxic, right? You could probably kill someone if they ate shaving cream. Like without getting. Oh, maybe not. Maybe that's an exaggeration, but.
I don't know.
It's pretty bloody toxic. I mean, if you look at the list of things in shaving cream, it's not the kind of stuff you want to be consuming.
For some reason, I thought that they were doing this at Casey's.
So did I, but it was the dairy.
Yeah, it's the Dairy Burger.
Yeah, it's the dairy. It should have been at Casey's.
Although we wouldn't have that kind of stuff going on in our establishment.
No, we don't want to get sued.
They'd be kicked right out.
Yeah, and bear in mind that later on we learned in Sweet Valley High, the Dairy Burger was worrying about getting sued when there was a fight in their car park that had nothing to do with them. So,
Yeah. So Jessica's furious at Liz for saying no.
Yeah, because Liz is immediately like, I can't do that.
Yeah. She calls her a first-class priss. But, as usual, Jessica has a plan.
Of course she does.
So she calls up Janet and she tells her that Liz has changed her mind. and that she'll be there on Wednesday. But she says, I won't be there because I have a dentist appointment.
Yes. So in reality, of course, it's Liz that has a dentist appointment. And we get one of my favourite things in Sweet Valley High, twin antics. Jess is going to dress up as Liz and be Liz to carry out the pledge dare. I love twin antics, and we don't get enough of it in Sweet Valley, so I was pleased. We got some more here.
So Wednesday comes, and Jessica tells Liz she should wear her pink and white striped shirt with her white pants because it looks really good. I think that sounds nice.
Yeah, it does.
It sounds like one of those. It sounds like a marshmallow kind of outfit.
Yeah, yeah.
It sounds like something you would wear to go and get ice cream.
Yeah, it's a very summery ice creamy thing. Yeah, I like it.
And Jessica's already called Lois earlier on in the week, and she's pretended to be Liz.
Yeah, she's secretly chuckles to herself about inviting a hippopotamus to lunch.
Yeah. So after school, Jessica changes into her own marshmallow outfit. She ties her hair back, removes her makeup and her jewellery. So she's become the boring marshmallow.
Yes, she has. Yeah.
And she heads to the Dairy Burger with Lois.
Yeah, she thinks that eating with Lois in public will be about as much fun as having her head shaved, but it will be worth it to get Liz into the unicorns with her.
So all the unicorns are there on a table in the corner. Lois orders the sundae with marshmallows, nuts, cherry syrup, and toasted coconut. And Jess apparently nearly gags. I think that sounds lush.
It sounds amazing.
I'd eat it.
So I was really confused at this part because I was like, how are you going to fake all of that being missing from the top when you take it off and then put whipped shaving cream on there?
Yeah.
But
absolute bullshit,
cool.
isn't it?
Yeah. So like you said though, Jess is absolutely disgusted by this topping, which I think sounds amazing. It's not over the top either.
I'll eat that while you eat your pickles.
Okay.
So while Lois finds the table, Jessica hides behind a column, scoops the cream off into a bin, and applies the shaving foam. And God knows what happened to all the other toppings, like you said.
Yeah, I think...
who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, so she gives it to Lois, and Lois does say something about, oh, it's missing the nuts or something. And Jess basically says, oh, well, they must be in the cream, as if
a shaving foam looks nothing like...
I know, this doesn't work on many levels, I agree.
But, yeah, Lois digs in.
Yeah.
And she spits it out immediately.
And everyone laughs.
Yeah, all the bitches in the corner start laughing hysterically.
Yeah. We poisoned your food for a joke.
And Lois runs out crying.
Yeah, she can't believe that Liz is such a bitch.
Janet congratulates Liz. When we say Liz, obviously we mean Jess. Pretending to be Liz. Janet congratulates her and tells her that they'll let her know soon whether she's in or not.
Yes, and Jess says... Oh, sorry, hang on. Yes, she does. And then Jess later speaks to Janet, I think on the phone, and says, oh, good, she did the pledges? That's awesome. Let's not congratulate her until we voted to decide if she's in. So that gets her off the hook on Liz finding out for a while. I guess a week.
It's like eventually she'd find out anyway.
Yeah, I know. It's not a good plan.
So the next day, the twins go to ballet again. And Madame Andre... again, ignores Jessica, even though she's actually dancing better than anybody else.
Yes.
I think she is genuinely a good ballet dancer by the signs of it. It's not just her being...
It's not just her arrogance, like she actually is talented.
Yeah. Madame Andre's ignoring her. So after class, she tells Liz she's had enough and she's going to quit.
And, of course, Liz is very upset. Because for Liz... as far as she's concerned, as she says to Jess...
all they have left.
All they have left, apart from living together and going to the same school together and,
sharing the same family.
Sharing literally the same room right now.
Every weekend.
They share the same room at the moment.
Yeah, literally going to sleep together. But Jess tells her not to worry because she's getting into the unicorns.
In Sweet Valley, they'll be sharing boyfriends as well.
Yeah. Jess says, don't worry, you're getting into the unicorns.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh shit. I've just got a feeling that you'll get into the unicorns.
Even without doing a pledge, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Liz persuades her to try one more class.
Yeah.
So she agrees to. And she goes to the next class, and she's glad she did, because Madame Andre makes an announcement.
Yeah, so the announcement, of course, Jess is still convinced she's going to quit. right? She's like, I'm done. But then it turns out that the announcement Madame Andre makes is that they're going to be doing a public performance soon, and they're going to be holding auditions.
Apparently, the performance is going to be in the high school auditorium, and literally all of Sweet Valley will be there. All of them. Everyone.
The whole town
is
going to turn up. My favourite part of this is that Jess gets really excited and asks Madame Andre what the lead wears. And Madame Andre says, not purple sashes.
Damn.
Burn.
I think she should. So Jess tells herself that she has to show Madame Andre.
Yeah.
And be the star of the show.
I agree. Madame Andre's a bitch.
But Madame Andre has to pick her. You know?
Yeah, I guess maybe she's thinking
likely,
if she wows the audience, then she'll have no choice but to give it to her.
But the audience won't see her until she's...
Oh, yeah, that's true. Sorry, yeah, she wouldn't even get through to that stage. Yeah, sorry, you're right. Yeah.
That evening, Jessica burst into the kitchen with the news that Liz is a unicorn.
Yes.
She says she got them to change their minds just because they like her so much.
Yeah, that's how that works.
Yeah, right. So Liz says she's just glad that they did change their minds, especially about the awful pledge task.
Yeah.
And she's a bit worried because Lois has been off school for 4 days.
And Jess says maybe she's just sick or something. Or dead.
But she is worrying that actually maybe they've poisoned her.
Yeah, well, I guess technically they did poison her. It's not like maybe. Just how much did she ingest? I would imagine it would make you very ill.
But, I mean, I guess she only took one mouthful and spit it out.
I would assume you'd probably just throw up.
But Jess tells herself anyway that Lois's parents probably just got tired of looking at her and sent her off to a fat farm.
Jesus Christ.
What the hell's a fat farm? The next day, Liz goes to her first Unicorn Club meeting.
Yes, and surprise, surprise, it's nothing she'd be interested in.
Yeah, she hates it. She's bored to death.
Yeah.
And she's checked her watch 12 times in 45 minutes, apparently.
Yeah, they're talking about the latest Cole Derrick movie and how cute he is, and Liz can't believe that they're talking about this kind of crap. But then one of them mentions a mini-series called The Pioneers, an up-and-coming mini-series, and Liz is super excited. She says, the first thing she said in the meeting, she said, I've read the book. The book's incredible. And apparently they look at her like she's speaking Martian.
Yeah, and she feels like her head's filling out with oatmeal. And just to take some time to appreciate Ellen's bedroom that they're in.
Go on.
They're in Ellen's bedroom, and apparently Ellen's obsessed with rainbows. And there's rainbows on the walls, rainbows hanging from the ceiling, rainbows on the bin, rainbows on Ellen's hairbrush, and rainbows on the telephone. Damn.
Sounds like a future bedroom of ours. I feel like that could happen in the end.
Some gay pride bedroom.
Yeah, it does actually. It kind of sound like a pride bedroom.
Yeah, and when Janet asked them if they've seen the Pioneers, before she asks them, she says, "Attention, please."
Yeah, yeah.
Like she's gonna everybody look at me when I talk about this mindless shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they start talking about some girl called Sandra Ferris, and how she wears a red bra. And apparently she's size 36E.
Yeah,
that's a very big 12-year-old.
It's a red bra under a white shirt, and you could see the whole bra. But apparently she loves it when guys stare at her. She's apparently as bad as Jennifer Norris.
Wow.
What the hell Jennifer Norris
Not as bad as Jennifer Norris.
Oh, really?
Surely not. No, I don't have a
I thought you had future knowledge about Jennifer Norris.
No, I have no idea. And yeah, Lila asks Liz who her dream date would be. And Liz says, I'm not really interested. And then Jess cuts her off and says, she means she's not interested in any one person because she likes loads of boys.
She's just a complete slut.
And then Ellen starts talking about Liz's pledge task. And Jess is like, oh shit.
Yeah, so Jess tries to cover and change the subject, but it ain't working. Ellen lets the cat out of the bag.
Yeah.
And Liz loses her shit.
She says she'll never forgive Jess, ever.
Yeah, and she storms out of the meeting.
You can't just leave a unicorn meeting.
I know.
How rude.
I know. Ellen and the rest are just sat around what the hell is wrong with her? What.
She gets home and Alice asks her what's wrong, and she just says she hated the meeting.
Yeah, and Alice is like, well, yeah, I told you would. Like, it was obvious. And to be fair, Liz, it was really obvious you wouldn't like this from the start. It's clearly not your kind of thing.
And she doesn't even like them.
No. But yeah, Alice says, I'm not surprised, but you'll never lose your sister. You're identical twins, for fuck's sake. Like, you're gonna. It's good that you have separate, lead separate ways in life, go your own separate ways. And Liz agrees, and she thinks to herself about her newspaper and her friends. But she also thinks there's something she's got to fix.
Mm-hmm. She goes and calls Lois, and she tells her that she wants to apologise.
Yeah.
I hate it when people say that. Like, I want to apologise. It's like, go on then.
Yeah, just apologise. Don't tell me you want to.
Yeah.
Because that's not an apology.
No, that's just saying you want to apologise.
You're not apologising. If you say, I want to apologise.
And people also say, like, I want to say, like, when you ask them a question, like, oh, what did you have for dinner last night? I want to say I had beans. Well, go on then. Say you had beans.
But did you have beans? That's not
I'm
an
asking
answer.
you what you want to say.
You've not answered my question.
Yeah.
So, not really an apology. Yeah, you're right.
Elizabeth tells Lois she wants to apologise. She explains that it was Jess.
Yeah.
And Lois is really relieved.
I was surprised, actually. I thought Lois wasn't going to buy it at first. If this was Sweet Valley, I feel like they wouldn't have believed her.
Yeah.
But Lois does believe her. But she also says she cannot go back to school.
Yeah, she's too humiliated.
Yeah.
And she thought she was going to die, apparently.
Well, she did. I mean, depending on how much shaving cream she ate, she might not have been very well.
Yeah. And now her mum's looking into private schools for her.
Yeah.
That's a bit of an overreaction.
Yeah.
Considering that this didn't even happen in school.
No. This happened at the dairy.
So it's not like the whole school would have seen.
Well, and most of her year, apparently, they don't go to the dairy.
Yeah.
Because it's mostly the 8th graders, right? The unicorns are like the only people of that age that tend to go there. So, her own year won't be that embarrassed by it. I guess, Caroline Pierce. Come on, everyone knows now, don't they?
She'll
Everyone
spread the whole
knows.
thing around. But Liz says, if you come back, you can sit with me, Amy, and Julie at lunchtimes.
Wow,
it's like,
what
that
a
would
treat.
stop me from going back. I'd definitely go to private school.
Well, that completely makes up for being completely humiliated if I can sit with Liz Wakefield.
Decision made, I'm not coming back.
Yeah.
When Liz gets back, Jess tells her... Oh, hang on, I've got the names the wrong way.
Yeah. So when Jess gets back, Liz tells her.
Yeah. Liz tells her if she doesn't apologise to Lois that she's going to tell Janet and she's going to tell their parents what she did.
Yeah. She says that if she doesn't apologise, then she'll tell the unicorns about the switch. Obviously they won't be very impressed by that. And Jess claims that this is blackmail, which it is.
Yeah.
She's right. It is blackmail, but what are you going to do about it? She also says that she'll tell Mum.
So she reluctantly agrees to apologise, and Liz tells her she's got exactly a week. So exactly a week later.
Yes, yeah.
It literally says exactly.
I know. To the second.
Exactly a week later, Liz brings Lois to the school steps. She tells Lois she can't believe how much everyone loved the fucking paper.
Oh, God, here we go.
And that she only has 2 copies left.
Oh, my goodness.
One for her and one for their parents.
Even Lila compliments her.
Yeah, she loved Caroline's gossip column.
Yeah, she wonders how... there's this big mystery in this book, how Caroline gets her gossip, and we never find out. Caroline just knows all the gossip somehow.
Yeah. But then Lila says that Lois could do a diet column and call it Advice from Miss Piggy.
My goodness. Obviously, Lois is upset. And Liz basically just takes her to one side and says, look, they're complete assholes.
Yeah.
But come and see Jess.
So Jess comes out and down the steps, and she gives Lois an awkward apology.
At least she actually apologises, unlike Liz.
But it's all a bit awkward. Lois says thanks, but she doesn't really accept it. She's just...
I don't blame her.
Accepts it to keep the peace, but she's still not happy.
Yeah.
At home...
I'm assuming it's pretty obvious that Jess is not really meaning it either.
Yeah, she's not sincere.
It's under
she's
duress.
Just being forced to, yeah. So at home, Alice tells them over their dessert that she's got some exciting news for them.
Oh my God.
They are getting their own bedrooms.
The twins cannot believe it. So now at this point, I had a note here. And the note says, it turns out that they've had a guest room with no one staying in it for absolute years instead of giving each of them their own room. which I thought was pretty outrageous, but it turns out that's exactly what you had.
And then I said, that's literally what happened to me.
Yeah, so maybe it's not that
Me
uncommon.
and my sister shared a room till we were 12, and there was a spare room that was for guests, and we kept our toys in it, and it was just a room that was, a random room. And then when we were 12, our parents said, you can have your own rooms.
What did that feel like?
Oh, I was so happy.
Did you get the other room?
Yeah, I got the new room, and I got it decorated how I wanted, exactly like in this book. But
so basically, your life like kind of mirrored the twins. Up, like, in that
I
way.
got my own TV for the first time ever.
Oh, I remember getting my first TV. Oh my goodness!
I had an orange inflatable chair.
Oh wow!
So this is the most 90s room ever. An orange inflatable chair, sun and moon wallpaper, sun and moon duvet set, sun and moon curtains, sun and moon bin, sun and moon lampshade, sun and moon lamp. Actually, it had a lava lamp as well.
Oh, lava lamps.
Obviously. And then some posters of, like, I think Spice Girls would have been what I had at that time. Spice Girls posters around the room.
E17.
I think they were a bit before that room. I think I'd gone off them by the time I got there.
Yeah, fair enough.
It was all about Spice Girls.
Yeah, girl power. I actually had, I don't know if I ever told you this, I also had sun and moon curtains.
Did you?
I did have curtains, yeah, which I think probably the same ones you had, probably.
The navy and yellow.
Yeah.
I was obsessed. Well, I still am, actually.
Yeah, we've often talked about decorating a room sun and moon.
Yeah.
So that still goes on. But yeah, so they're finally going to get their own rooms.
Liz says she's so pleased because she won't have to live in mess anymore. And Jessica says she's pleased because she can be as messy as she wants.
Yeah, well, we also know that in the future, Jess just has a brown room filled with junk. It just sounds awful.
Yeah. So Liz wants navy blue curtains and plain white walls.
God, Liz wants to be boring, yes.
Like, that's like what, a 50-year-old would choose for their room.
Even a 50-year-old would have better taste than that.
Like, it's just so dull.
Yep.
Like when you get a rented property and they decorate it as inoffensively and
white
neutral
and
as you can.
white and beige. Yeah.
Like, that's not a 12-year-old choice.
No, absolutely not.
So Ned says that they'll get it finished by the weekend.
Yeah.
It's quick to decorate. To move one kid out of one room, decorate the other room. It's very quick.
Well, apparently the whole family pitch in to sort out the rooms.
It's not that quick because they put the kids to work.
This is the start of the kids working on everything in the house.
They can't cook because they're too young, but they can paint and decorate, apparently.
Apparently so.
So Stephen's whistling as he's painting.
Yeah, he seems a lot happier.
Yeah, and Jess says, why are you in such a good mood? And he says, it just took me a while to get over Roberta dumping me.
Stephen, we weren't going to bring up Roberta. We were never going to mention her in this house ever again.
And Jess asks if it was because he's too old. And he's like, well, no, actually, it was because she said I was too immature.
Yeah, well, I can believe that based on the way he acts in this book.
But he's got someone else now.
Yeah.
A sophomore named Mandy. And they are going to dissect a carp together in biology tomorrow.
Yes, weren't they going to dissect an eye or something?
Yeah, so firstly they're going to dissect a carp. The eye comes later.
Oh, okay.
Shush. That's for later. So yeah, they're going to dissect a carp together in biology. And Stephen's very excited about this.
Yeah.
And then Liz says maybe Roberta was just upset about being kicked out of the unicorns. And that's why she was horrible to you.
The bombshell drops.
So Steve says she dropped out because Janet asked me out on a date.
Yeah. So Janet and Roberta were fighting over Stephen. And of course, this goes back to the scandal previously when Jess was the one threatening to quit. And they said, oh, you can't quit the unicorns. It's terrible if you quit the unicorns. It looks bad for us. Obviously, they've covered here, lied, and said that they kicked Roberta out to Jess. But of course, Jess is suddenly thinking her brother is great.
Yeah.
Because she had two whole unicorns fighting over
Two whole unicorns.
Two whole unicorns.
Steve says, yeah, they've just got great taste. And Liz says, well, they're still horrible for what they did to Lois. And somebody should give them a taste of their own medicine.
Yeah.
I wonder who that will be.
Well, I wonder.
So later on, Liz calls Lois and she asks her if she'd like to get even with the unicorns.
Why would I?
Yeah. Lois says that sounds neato.
Yeah.
And she calls Liz a genius. Which, when
she's not really a genius
plan at all.
This relies on the unicorns being dumb as fuck to actually fall for it.
So the plan, the next day they go to the Dairy Burger.
Yeah.
And Lois tells the unicorns that she's sorry.
Yeah, and she makes out that she doesn't really care about the prank. It was funny. It was funny. She overreacted.
And then she offers to go up and get their ice cream sundaes for them.
And I guess because they're so convinced that Lois would never do anything to them.
Yeah, they find her so unthreatening. Yeah. She's such a loser.
They agree.
Meanwhile, while she's up there, Amy pulls out a camera and she says she wants some photos of the unicorns for the newspaper. So, of course, they're like all over this. Like, yeah, strike a pose.
Well, this is quite, this is commentary on the media. They're creating the news.
Yeah.
They're creating the news they're reporting on.
And while they're busy posing, probably like pouting and stuff, Liz and Lois replace the... This is so fucking unoriginal. Liz and Lois replace the cream on one of the sundaes with shaving foam.
I thought it was interesting they only did one of them.
Yeah, I know. They just do one of them. And also, so Liz isn't really a genius. She's just taken their own plan. Yeah,
this is not genius at all. This is just doing the same thing back. And like I said, it relies on the unicorns just being really stupid to even fall for it.
And also, she's just like stooped to their level, really.
Like, if I was horrible enough to have done that prank to someone, I would never let anyone get me a sundae ever again. I will get my own forever.
And Lois goes over and delivers the sundaes to them.
Yeah.
And one by one, they all tuck in.
Yeah, and they love them.
Until one of them starts choking and gagging.
Which one?
Who do you think?
Well, I know.
Yeah. Don't know why I said that. Yeah, of course you know.
I've got it written right here. It is Lila Fowler.
Yeah. Why just Lila?
I don't know. I mean, I guess she's not even the ringleader because really it's Janet.
Yeah, should have got Janet. Should have gone straight for the Queen.
Yeah, definitely.
And while Lila's choking away, Amy starts clicking with her camera.
Yes.
And the whole place is laughing at them.
The unicorns have been utterly humiliated and Janet cannot believe it. They are furious. You don't do this to the unicorns. But it's too late and there's photographic evidence.
And they leave the Dairy Burger in disgrace.
Yeah.
So a couple of weeks later, Elizabeth is in her new room. It turns out she's gone, in case you're interested. She's gone for a cream-coloured carpet, off-white walls and navy curtains with a yellow trim. Plus the biggest desk in Sweet Valley.
Of course, she's going to be a writer.
Yeah, she needs that desk.
She needs that desk.
It's all of her important journalist work.
Yeah.
Stephen comes in and Liz asks if he's dissected the carp with Mandy yet. And he says, yes, it was wonderful.
It's the most romantic time of my life.
Our hands brushed as we reached for the same scalpel. Liz says that's gross, and he says, yeah, well, tomorrow we're dissecting a sheep's eye together.
Terrific fun.
Well done, Stephen.
That's the second date.
Perfect. Dream guy, yeah. Liz says things are going well for her too. He didn't fucking ask, but...
Yeah, I never asked you, but fine.
So apparently the unicorns didn't figure out that the prank was her idea. So basically, she just let Lois take the blame on her own then.
Yeah, pretty much.
She's like, yeah, they didn't figure out I had anything to do with it. They just blamed Lois, and I just didn't bother to stand in solidarity with her or anything, or confess my part.
Yeah.
I just let Lois take the blame. So she heads out to ballet with Jess, and as usual, Madame Andre is complimenting Liz.
We get the mention that they could take a shortcut there to walk past the Mercandi house, and Jess warns that she might be a witch, which I'm assuming is a later.
That's
reference.
Foreshadowing for book 3. So
okay,
a long way
so
off.
They don't go that way, and of course they get to practice with Madame Andre.
Yeah, and she's just bullying Jessica now, really.
Yeah, at this point, you'd think if Alice or Ned was watching, they'd just be like, "What are you doing? Like, this is awful."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she tells all the class they need to work hard if they want a part in the recital.
Yeah.
And Jess thinks that she just has to get the lead part.
Yeah. And I guess we will find out if she does.
Yeah. Will Jessica star in the dance recital? Find out in Teacher's Pet, book 2 in the Sweet Valley Twins series.
I think Jess is going to get very manipulative.
And that was Teacher's Pet.
Yeah.
Got a little list in the back here of Sweet Valley Kids books.
Excellent.
I'm holding the book in my hand. There's a book called Jessica's Cat Trick. I really want to know what that is.
Oh, what does the cat do?
I know. Jessica's Snobby Club.
Well, she's already in one.
And of course, one of my favourites, Andy and the Alien.
Andy and the Alien. So this was the first Sweet Valley Twins book.
Yeah.
Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, we really enjoyed doing this.
Yeah, really. And there is like no exaggeration, because you said this to me and I was like, okay, fair enough. Having read it, literally there is not a single page where things are not happening in this book.
Yeah.
Even up to the final page of the book, things are still going on. This is like, they pack so much. It's like 104 pages, and every page I was making so many notes for every page. There's stuff going on all the time.
I had way more notes about this than I have about any Sweet Valley High book we've done so far.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, things just keep happening in this book.
I think so much happens, but also so little.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, we've just covered it, but yeah, it's just constant things.
Yeah. So we will see you in 2 weeks when we are going to do Teacher's Pet. But in 1 week, of course, we will be doing
Kelly's Roadhouse.
Kelly's Roadhouse for book number 10.
I think it is. It's our 10th Sweet Valley book.
As we call it, Easy Annie. But it's actually called Wrong Kind of Girl.
Yeah, I know it is Easy Annie because you keep talking about Easy Annie. So now, But yes, thank you for listening to our first Casey's Ice Cream Parlor episode.
We might do Sweet Valley Twins bingo when we get to know the books a bit better.
Yeah, we need a few more subjects. I'm wondering if million is going to be a number going forward, because it came up like 3-4 times in this book. But there's a few things coming out. It depends whether they transfer into other books, but we may well do bingo. Yeah,
I don't feel I know it well enough to decide on.
I think probably by the time we're about book 5, we'll probably think, maybe we can do bingo.
But if anyone's got any suggestions for that, let us know.
Yes, because obviously people have read ahead. People know more about twins than us. So if you've got suggestions for bingo, let us know and we'll put it on a card.
Also want to thank I Am Sarah 1981. She sent me a list of the Sweet Valley Twins books in order, including all of the thrillers and super editions. Which we definitely want to include them. Super helpful, because we couldn't find that anywhere on the internet. I've got one on Sweet Valley High. And I'm really funny about doing it in order. They separate the thrillers from everything else, don't they? Yeah. Which is the problem. So if you want to know which order the thrillers come in or where they fit in chronologically, so we will be including all of them in our recaps. Sarah made the list herself. Yes, so thank you, Sarah. And she said that people laughed at her for doing it. Well, we're not laughing because it was really useful. Very good idea. Yeah. So thanks for that. Any final thoughts? Only that I'm excited to keep doing these. This is good because it does feel quite different from Sweet Valley High. It is, definitely. And it's interesting seeing the characters before Sweet Valley High and at this young age, and you're seeing Jessica just becoming Jessica and Elizabeth starting to become Elizabeth. I mean, sounds like she's always been boring as fuck, but like now she's becoming the writer and stuff. Where's Todd? I'm curious as to whether Todd even turns up. He does turn up, yeah. He'll turn up, so that's going to be interesting. Ken turns up as well later on. Oh, little Ken. Little Ken. He is literally little Ken. Oh, yes, you said he's tiny and he gets bullied. If I remember correctly, yeah. And he becomes head of the gladiators. Yeah. Well, thank you, everybody. Yeah, thanks for listening, and we'll see you either in 2 weeks' time for more twins or hopefully in a week's time for Easy Annie. Bye. Bye.